Hello, and welcome to the Art of Living Well podcast. I'm Stephanie May Potter, and I'm here with my co-host, Marnie Dotches-Marmette.
We created the Art of Living Well podcast to empower you to live your happiest, healthiest, and most authentic life. Each week, we will bring you inspiring and motivating conversations covering health and wellness topics, including fitness, mindset, food, travel, product reviews, and strategies from a variety of experts, including our own bank of knowledge.
We are excited to educate, motivate, and inspire you to change the way you perceive health and discover your art of living well. Get ready to feel inspired. Hello, and welcome to episode number 8 of the Art of Living Well podcast. I'm Stephanie May Potter, and I'm here with my co-host, Marnie Dotches-Marmette. In this episode, we talk with Heather Corndorf, who is a born teacher and professionally trained dancer turned entrepreneur. She's been instructing group fitness, designing choreography, training instructors, and filming virtual and home DVD programs for more than 20 years, with no intention of slowing down. After decades of teaching at top-notch gyms and clubs across the Midwest, Heather set out to create Moxie. She wanted to offer wildly enjoyable movement classes, build a progressive community, and foster genuine self-love in all of her students. Heather believes that movement is a form of healing and that all humans, yourself included, can harness its transformative power. She knows that feeling healthy, beautiful, and strong is different for each individual person, and she builds curriculum that honors these unique needs. You will be inspired by our conversation with Heather to heal the world by starting with yourself. Hello, we are so excited to have Heather Corndorf on our show today. And while I only formally met Heather about a year and a half ago during the Minneapolis Mastermind program that I did, I've been hearing about Heather within the fitness world since I moved to Minneapolis about 9 years ago. And I would have friends talk about how they would line up 15 to 20 minutes before class started just to get a spot in her Friday morning class. And I had the opportunity to attend a couple of those over the course of the last few years. She is currently the owner of Moxie Studio in Minneapolis. And with that, let's get started. So Heather, can you tell us a little bit about how you started dancing and how you got into group fitness and maybe a little bit about your story?
Sure. Now, first of all, I can't believe you stood in line that long. Thanks for coming.
Well, you wanted to make sure you had a spot.
I know, that's so sweet. And you don't have to do that anymore at my new studio, but I appreciate that. Okay. So I started dancing when I was 2. And that's because apparently at the mall, when we used to go to malls, they would have like Santa Claus or fashion shows. And apparently I jumped up on the stage when I was really young, like 2, and started dancing. And everyone thought it was funny. And so my grandma turned to my mother and said, "You need to enroll her in dance classes." And so they did. And I was kind of young, but it was actually, I think now that we're talking about this, I think God that I had dance. It was my form of healing and connecting to myself at a very young age. Growing up is hard for lots of people, but movement was so special to me. And that's how I could kind of move through feelings without having to talk about it. Now I talk about it too, but so I've been doing movement since 2, formal movement. And I was a dance major in college.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to University of Michigan, Ann Arbor.
Oh,
Go
nice.
Blue!
My son is a freshman there right now.
I'm so excited to hear that. We
We'll
bleed
have to
maize
talk
and
about
blue.
that
I will
later.
have to talk about that later. Yes. I can't believe that was my major. It's helped me with everything. And I remember going into college and was going to go to so many other places, and it was either pre-med, which is so fantastic, or dance. And my parents would just be like, "You'll figure it out. Whatever makes you happy, you'll figure it out." And thankfully I have. And in retrospect, it served me so well. I mean, I went to law school for a year, decided I wanted to be a lawyer. I was a recruiter. I was a paralegal for years. All these things were very exciting, but dance really helped me with discipline and self-respect, and just not necessarily perform, but like be ready for anything and to improv, right? So, I'm really grateful that I had that. And so that's kind of how dance started, but the fitness stuff was never a goal of mine. It was it kind of just like slapped me in the face. I was in Chicago one day and one of my colleagues was like, hey, let's go to a kickboxing class. And we went to Crunch and took this fabulous kickboxing class. And then the teacher came up to me after class and said, hey, can I train you? And I was like, what?
That's pretty
sure,
cool.
let's do it. And then the rest is history. I mean, I started at Crunch in Chicago. It was amazing. I worked at Equinox. It was amazing. And then moved to Minneapolis, worked at Lifetime, did some DVDs, have done some videos, and just have always been curious and trying different things, never knowing exactly what the end result is. I still don't know what it is. I'm just open and I'm curious. And it's always great to have people to look up to. But I didn't really say, hey, I want to do what she's doing or do what he's doing. It's never been very clear to me. Right now, all I know is I just got to still stay sovereign to myself and listen to my gut. And then the rest will flow.
Yeah.
How did you decide to branch out on your own a few years ago and open Moxie and create Moxie? And what does Moxie mean?
Yeah. Okay. So Moxie means, and we spelled MXE, and I know that's not how you spell Moxie, but I don't care. Because if you look at MXE, you see X, which is like X marks the spot. You are here right now. You see ME, that's me, and it all starts with me. And Moxie means the strength and the determination, the courage, and the chutzpah, if you know what that means, to just show up in the world. And I say to people that whenever they first start at Moxie, it takes Moxie to step into this place. You don't know what to expect here. So it takes Moxie to start a new school or to leave your relationship or to start a new job or to say no. That takes a lot of Moxie. Right. So, and it takes a lot of Moxie to be a woman these days, so
Absolutely.
It does. So at the back of my mind, I knew there was something more, but I didn't know what it was. And I would go off and on, like playing with the idea of having a studio. And I had all these reasons not to. And that would make me step away and say no. And so for like 10 years, I've been thinking about this. And I finally said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this, and started doing the work, and then got really close to it and got scared again. And I had those stories that said, you can't do this. What if you fail? Or what if your health gets bad? Or what if you don't have as much sex with your husband? Or like, what if you don't see your kids? And so I said out loud to my family, okay, I'm not doing this. And I spent 24 hours sad, not depressed, because I've been depressed and that's a whole other story, but sad. And I, try to walk around the house and try to, smile. And at the end of the day, my daughter, who I guess she was probably 7, we were in my bedroom and she was sitting on my couch and she crawled in my lap and she put her hands on my face and she looked at me and she goes, Mama, I want to see you try something new. And I looked at her, I know, and I get the chills every time I say it because it's true. And I looked at her and I said, okay, honey, are those your words or those daddy's words? And she's like, these are my words. And I want to see you try something new. And right there, I was like, oh, okay, I'm doing it. And it was that, I was like, of course I'm doing it. Right, and I knew those were my words because I talked to my kids like that. It's failure not to try. Try something new. You're not going to be good at everything. You're probably not going to be the best at anything. Right. So just try it because you want to. Right. Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh, the worst thing that can happen is you're like, this is not for me. So then you change your mind. I say all the time, like, I can change my mind whenever I want. Right. And it's not failure. So that's really, I tell my daughter all the time, I'm like, you really opened Moxie. Yep. And Moxie is open because I have my kids in mind. I mean, the mission is to connect people, to share what we know, and to dare people. The vision, though, is that to get you to love yourself, to get you to respect yourself, so that you can love and respect somebody else. So the vision is really to change the world, but it's got to start with each of us. So all the great stuff we're doing in there, in the back of my mind, I'm like, you know what you're doing? You're saving the world, right? Each of you are saving the world. And that's selfish. That's for my kids. That's for your kids. That's, it's not just for me. It's for the future. Right. So that's Moxie in a nutshell.
Lovely.
It is lovely. Thank you.
I mean, it truly is.
Thanks. I agree.
And it's pretty powerful if you think about all the fitness studios out there that are just turning people in and out just to work out and just the physical.
Yeah.
And Moxie really incorporates so much more than the physical body.
We do. And, we're in Minneapolis, and people listening to this are probably in other cities where we're blessed that there are so many talented and, my colleagues, I call them colleagues, boutiques all around the country. They're amazing. We're all doing such good work. There's enough room for all of us to be out here and to succeed. It's not like one is better than the other. And I say to people when they come in, they're like, I want to lose 10 pounds. And I say, hi, welcome to Moxie. This might not be your space right now. That's okay. You can lose 10 pounds. That's not what we're going to focus on.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that person's not going to stay, because they're curious. Well, what do you focus on? I'm like, can you look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I like you?
Right.
Or can you be naked and look at yourself and not tear yourself a new asshole? It's sacred. These pods that we're in right now, if we talk this way to our friends or our family or our kids, people wouldn't want to be around us, but how can we do it to ourselves? So it's different. We're still doing the push-ups. We're still doing all that great stuff, but it's movement. So we're trying to teach people to move in a way that's their strength, their softness. You're asking why. We're not just saying, do this. And the students are pausing. They're like, well, why? Why am I doing this? Why? And we should be asking why. Why am I eating this? Why am I wearing this? Why am I going here? Why am I believing this? Why am I, supporting this person? So it's all about why. So that we say that the people that come are intellectually curious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm also assuming there's a fun factor at your studio. I know you love to dance.
Yes.
As you've mentioned. So are there some really fun dance classes where you can just go and smile and dance?
Yeah. And frankly, I think that, people put labels on things, and of course we call it a dance class. Mm-hmm. The fact is, we say it's a movement studio, not a gym and not an exercise place or fitness place. Because when you have those labels, there are all these previous connotations, and you have all this history. I have history with thinking about exercise. I remember as a little girl thinking I have to do 100 jumping jacks, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and then I'll be skinny. I would say those things to myself. And so I don't want people associating Moxie with this label of just this is what it is on the outside, because we're trying to do an inside out job. Mm-hmm. Right. So the dance class is so much fun. The bar class is so much fun. The string class is so much fun. And what's the fun factor is you get to, I say this all the time. I love teaching. I love taking the classes at Moxie with other teachers, because I say to myself, I'm going on a date with myself this morning. I'm so excited. Or I get to go on a date with myself this evening, because it's fun. I get to learn about what my body wants to do, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. Then I get to make decisions real time. I don't have to ask anybody's opinion. It's all me. So it's fun because it's I'm getting to know myself. Mm-hmm. And I get to say, nah, I really don't want to jump today. And then actually I want to fling my arms in the air. So a lot of times the movement, it's we're going to guide you. Here's a parameter. Just do 4 steps to the right. But what do you want to do with your arms? What do you want to do with your face? And a lot of times people love watching the dance classes. I would much rather watch somebody dance than do push-ups. So we show a lot of dance classes, but all of the classes are an experience.
And what would you say to someone that wanted to come check out Moxie that's never danced before but really wants to dance? Is it an intimidating experience? Is it kind of what do you say to the new dance student?
Well, in terms of intimidation, both of you have been to the studio. Yep. Now, it takes Moxie to go anywhere that's new, to try anything new. Yep. And as adults, we rarely put ourselves in situations where we're new, where we're not an expert. We tell our kids to do it all the time, but rarely do we say, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this tap class. So in terms of being intimidating, the space is not intimidating. The people are incredibly welcoming. And people say that all the time.
Right.
The intimidation, I would say, is your story.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's your story saying, I can't do this. I've never done this. Oh, I'm not a dancer. People say that all the time. They'll come in. I'll say, welcome. They're like, I'm not a dancer. Hi, my name is Heather. Okay, that's great. Can we talk about what you are? You don't have to be a dancer. The fact is, anybody that walks is a dancer. Dance is movement.
Right.
So when people come and they say that, I'm like, well, back in my mind, I'm like, well, then why the hell are you here? This is a dance class. You are a dancer. If you don't want to call yourself that, that's fine. Here we go. We're going to move. Let's go. And in 5 seconds, they're a dancer. Right? So a lot of times what I'm saying, what the other teachers are saying is get the hell out of your own way.
Yes.
Who told you?
Exactly.
Who told you can't do this?
Yep.
Who told you should be intimidated or you should be scared or you are not something? I mean, if my child said to me, I can't do this.
Right.
I'd say, who told you that? Seriously, like who told you that? Because that's, if you say you can't, of course you can't.
Exactly. And if we wouldn't, want our kids saying that about themselves, why are we saying that to ourselves?
Right. And they're watching us. And they're listening, they're watching. Yep.
Absolutely. So you talked a little bit about your space, and it's clear to anyone who's walked in your studio that the decor and everything about it was so intentional.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit for the people that haven't been to Moxie?
So yes, thank you. It is very intentional. It's very warm and welcoming. People say that all of the time. And I want it to be like you walked into my home because this is my home. Within maybe a minute, I'll say, you should check out the bathrooms. And people are like, all right.
Which I thought, by the way, were so cool.
Thanks. They are cool. So in the bathrooms, I'll just go straight there because I just mentioned it. There's art, there are words, there's a piece of paper on the back of the door for you to write positive messages about yourself, or people write positive messages about their parents or about somebody else or a teacher or a student. And it's getting you excited to be in your body, to be there. There are, words that say, yes, you can, or there are words that say, nope, or whatever it is. You'll see a little Barack Obama and a little Ruth Bader Ginsburg next to the soap dispenser. It's fun. It's playful. People come out and they're like, I can do anything, right? I'm so empowered sitting on that toilet. So it's fun. And then in the lobby, it's equally fun. It's more, here's what's happening here. Workshops are up on the chalkboard. And the chalkboard, there's actually an art installment. Kevin Cramp, who was a local artist, he came in and met with me in the very beginning. And we sat in the space for a while and talked about the energy and the flow and what's going to happen there. And he indicated 3 areas that would be great to install what he does. And he did it with tape, and it's gorgeous. It's that green tape. He's so talented. And so we decided to do that. So that is permanently there, and that's art. So I love beautiful things. It doesn't have to be expensive, but I love just texture and looking at it and being inspired. And then you have the merchandise, which is very, very thoughtful. My creative director is Christy Williford, and she owns Elemental Studio, and she helped with the branding. And so we're always talking about what's the next t-shirt. And the recent one says, I love you. And it's backwards so that when you look in the mirror, it reads, I love you.
Oh,
yes. And you can't. Awesome. So I just got the chills. Whenever you look at yourself in the mirror, you have to smile. It's like, right. Hi there. How you doing? So you see the merch and people are typically thumbing through. They're like, is there anything new? Because it feels good. It's not, wearing our merchandise is not marketing Moxie. It's trying for you to live your Moxie. And so when you put on that shirt, you're like, sometimes the shirt says nope. And it's not necessarily, I'm saying, nope because I'm being rude. I'm actually saying yes to myself. And no is a hard word for a lot of people. That's why we have the word nope. And it can apply to anything. So we have upcoming a uterus t-shirt. It's going to be amazing. I'm just wait till it comes out. I'm just going to encourage you to come in to get your uterus t-shirt. But so there's all the merch. And then you walk in the studio and it's beautiful and it's very clean. We clean it all every day, every hour. But it's very crisp and clean. And it's white and it's very, it's very opposite of the rest of the place. And that is intentional because when you're stepping foot in this space, you decide. I don't want you being influenced by anybody else because that's what happens all the time. There's so much noise out there telling us who we should be, what we should think, what we should eat, what we should smell like, what we should say, what we should wear. Here in the studio, you decide how you want to move. You decide if you're going to go faster or slower or larger or smaller, if you're going to have fun or not. You do not have to smile in the studio, right? So this is your space to date yourself. And I want you to create that. I dislike going into spaces and it says smile for numerous reasons, or like, you should be happy or be happy. It's like, I don't want to be happy right now. And it's okay for me not to be happy. But when you have that in my face, it makes me feel less. So I want you to feel everything and on your terms. And then you notice, like, we have the succulents on the staircase.
Yes.
So when you come or go, you see the succulents on the staircase, and there's that natural earth element. There are crystals hidden in some of them. And it's, we are in the lower level, which is beautiful because there are windows that brings a natural light. But it's, I love plants. There's a part of me that wants to just dig in the dirt all day. Mm-hmm. And there's something to say for succulents. I mean, I love them. They're very easy and hard to take care of.
Yes.
Just like ourselves. Very easy and hard to take care of. So, those are just a couple of the intentional things. Yeah. Yes.
Well, when I walked into your space, I was overwhelmed. Like, I loved the vibe, the feeling, the aura, the whole thing. And I really noticed it right away.
Thank you.
It's a very special place.
It is. And it's all because of the humans. It really, the decor is amazing, but the people that go there, that work there, that come, that even experience, that are curious, they're good people. You rarely see anybody on their phone. It's not a rule. But I used to teach in classes, no, like, knock on anybody, not being judgmental, but people would text while they were taking my class or while they're taking yoga. And I understand there are emergencies all the time, but you don't need to be on Facebook when you're moving. Right? People are not on their phones. People are there for themselves. They're sometimes, talking. A lot of times you're talking, but you don't have to have a conversation or to connect with people. You can go in and out very quickly, or you can stay a while.
Right.
So the energy is also, it's really the people.
It is, because every time I've been, whether it's you or another instructor, and especially for the first time, I get a hug, which is super warm and welcoming.
Yeah, it is.
It's interesting that you said that, because the other morning, a lot of places I go to, everyone's on their phone up until the moment class starts. And I don't think, and this was at 5:30 in the morning, I don't think anyone was on their phone. Now that you say that, which is so refreshing.
Thank you. It is refreshing. And I remember that was an intention of mine, I never said to anybody, put your phone away. Never said that at Moxie. Neither to the teachers. Like, it's just been a natural thing. Right. People don't want to be on their phone.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Yeah.
It says that you've built a really nice community that people would rather interact with each other, which is really nice.
Exactly. And by the way, you do not have to receive a hug at Moxie. It happens a lot. I can feel if somebody does not want a hug.
Yeah.
Right.
The fact of the matter is we need a lot of hugs.
Exactly.
Yeah. And a lot of the pain that's going on in this world is we're missing some fundamental things as humans, and touch is a huge component of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I can tell as I'm walking up to someone if they don't want a hug, and I'll ask, can I hug you? And you can say no.
Yeah, right. Yep.
But I knew that you needed a hug, or you wanted a hug.
Yes.
So.
Well, one other question we have is just, can you explain maybe how, to the audience, how movement can be a form of healing? And you kind of touched on this early on with your own journey, but just for our audience.
Yeah. Movement, to me, is healing because, your body holds a lot of memories, a lot of trauma, a lot of great things too. Mm-hmm. And our bodies sometimes do the opposite of what they want to do. So we shrink in fear, or we clench because we're anxious. And what we're trying to do at Moxie is teach you how to breathe again, teach you how to embrace your natural curves of your spine. Mm-hmm. That is therapeutic. So there are times where people will cry at Moxie, and they're crying dancing. Mm-hmm. And it's a shock. And they're like, why? I don't know why I'm crying. I'm having a great time. Like, well, you just released something.
Yeah. Right.
You know, it's like this somatic experience. Mm-hmm. So we don't, talk therapy is great. I go to therapists every other week. That stuff works. But movement is also a way of healing too. And you can release a lot of stuff that you don't need. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's also a way of expressing yourself. Sometimes words just don't do it. And so, a lot of us are hiding for so many reasons. And we see, you know, hiding behind phones or computers or hiding behind whatever. To move, that takes a lot of moxie, and it's a lot of vulnerability. Yeah. So I would just say, even saying that I'm going to move, that in itself is like the first step of healing. Or I'm going to do something that's going to get me to connect more to myself. That is a form of healing.
Right.
Yeah. So would you say, for our listeners that maybe want to walk away with like one tip from you, would that kind of be where you go with it? Just in terms of living your moxie, like how would you suggest somebody start to live their moxie? A very simple step in that direction.
A very simple step would be to pause. We're all doing, and listening and reading and doing all these things where we're learning about, you know, like with podcasts or books. I mean, this is great, but sometimes people overdo it. Mm-hmm. They go see 10 doctors. They eliminate 10 things from what they eat. They think, oh my gosh, there's more. I need to spend more money. You need to actually pause and shut the hell up.
Yep.
I mean, that is like, for me, when I was so depressed and so anxious and I was suicidal. So I can say that now. It wasn't until I saw the effects it was having on my kids that I knew I needed to change something. I was running around trying to do everything. And I had to step back and I said, what needs to be done here? And it was a pause. And it was less of what they told me to do, less of what you're telling me to do. I have all the answers inside of me, but I'm not listening to them. So I'd say date yourself. Like, just pause and date yourself. Don't buy anything. You can come to Moxie, get your free week. That's easy. That's no money. That's a great way of dating yourself. Sleeping more. I mean, that's a good way of connecting, but just to pause. And then the next step is listen, right? What do you really want? A lot of people don't know what they want.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Hence, we're running around doing too much and answering to everyone.
Right. I know what I should be doing. I should be doing this. Everyone, you know, there are all these shoulds, but what do you want? Really? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the last question we like to ask all of our guests is what the art of living well means to you.
The art of living well means being connected to myself and being sovereign to myself at all times. And that means listening to my gut, my intuition. And for a long time, for a good 38 years of my life, I'm 41 right now, I would squash that. I would stop listening because there's so many reasons why I shouldn't be shining, why I shouldn't be bright, why I should be quiet. And my gut tells me differently. It's a lot easier to not, it's not that I don't care. I do care, but I care about myself first. And I know that if I can listen to my intuition and I can follow it, then I can serve you and I can serve you and I can love you and I can respect you. I can listen to you. But if I'm not, if I'm off, if I'm doing something because I immediately said yes and I really don't want to do it, I'm going to be anxious. And then that's going to lead to something else. And then that my intuition stops talking to me, or it gets louder and it shows up in different ways, like headaches or stomach aches, or, you know, I break out or I get really inflamed. And so my body's always talking to me, but now I can listen. And so that is the art of living well for me, is being able to listen.
Yes, yeah. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
That's really powerful takeaway for everyone.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. And Heather, where can our listeners find you and find Moxie if they want more information on what you're doing?
They can find us first online, www.mxe.life, L-I-F-E. We're on social media. And I would just prefer people to get off social media and just bring your ass in, you know, and your first week is free. If you can tell me one thing you like about yourself, and if you need help being coached, I can help you, but just one thing. And then if you're not in Minneapolis, you can do online classes. We have it under our website. It's under shop and video. There's also merchandise you can get online. We also have lots of workshops all the time. That's under Moxie Talks on the website. We'll have facts of life workshops for boys and girls. We'll have perimenopause classes. We'll have racism workshops. So it just depends on what needs to be talked about in the community. And people present that and we talk about it. We're not afraid of talking about anything.
Yeah. And Marnie and I actually were fortunate enough to attend your full moon workshop just a couple of days ago, which was amazing. It was like a packed studio.
It was beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah, it truly was.
It was.
And people were not necessarily friends, right?
No.
They didn't
I
necessarily
didn't know
even
a soul
know,
in
right?
the room except for you two,
Right.
actually.
And it was so supportive. And people were really moving things in their body. Like not even, we sat the whole time, but they were getting rid of stuff.
It was group therapy.
It was
honestly,
group therapy.
it was group therapy.
It was.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't wait for the next one.
I know. Either can I.
Yeah.
Well, Heather, thank you so much for coming on our show today. We loved having you.
Thank you. I love being here. And, whenever you want to talk again, just come reach out. This is fun.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
There's more to talk about.
Yeah,
sure.
always.
Have a great day. I am so ready for our liver detox and group coaching program to start on January 13th.
Oh, I'm right there with you, Marnie. This holiday season has been so much fun, but come January, I know my liver needs a break, and I'm ready to just remove a lot of the toxins that are in our body. And I've been consuming a few more of them lately. We're going to have an amazing group, and you'll get full access to Marnie and myself on a daily basis. You also get recipes that are liver detox friendly and easy and delicious to make for you and your family.
Sign up at
our website, which is www.theartoflivingwell.us/programs.
Thank you so much for listening to the Art of Living Well podcast. We are so grateful that you joined us today.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend or anyone else you think may benefit from this information. We'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and tag the Art of Living Well podcast on social media.
If you want more inspiration in between episodes, you can find us on social media at theartofliving_well on Instagram and Facebook, where we will share snippets from our daily lives and our journey to living well.